deal, he accounts for just under 19% of the Niners salary cap, which, again, this capologist really made that happen. And I know people hear $53 million and see that number and they're like, oh, no way, that's too high. It seems to me, again, just to me, like this is well structured for the Niners, and this is not going to be an impediment to them going forward.
Okay, so like people have been saying this. Well, it's only 19%. First of all, to being 1/5 of your cap is a number. I don't have a problem with Lamar, Burrow, Mahomes, Allen being 20 to 25%. I don't think Purdy is that player. Combined with my concern, which is now not arguable, they have missed on too many draft picks. So my take is, at some point, they are a Kittle or a Trent. These are older players. They are a Kittle or a Trent Williams injury away from needing Brock Purdy to carry an incredibly thin roster. If he was making 19% of the roster, little bigger arm, little better athlete, and it was a deeper roster like, let's say, the Bills or the Ravens or the Lions, it's not just, you say it's 19%. I can live with that with about 6 guys in the league, not 12. Like Jalen Hurts, I don't know where he is, but Saquon Barkley feels like I could almost live with a running back being 15%. It's not just the money. It's the money with some of his limitations against playoff teams with an old roster that is going to get hurt. Old players in this league playing 17 games, somebody's going to get hurt.
That's fair. This whole 20 to 25% is okay for Allen and Burrow and Mahomes. Are they really 5% better than Brock Purdy when it comes to the salary cap? Oh, really? So if that's the case, well, if you want to say Kittle or they're a Kittle injury or a Trent Williams injury away, well, we could play that game with all those guys. If Jamar Chase goes down,
the difference is Josh Allen got to an AFC championship at one point with a bad O-line. Burrow got to a Super Bowl with a horrible O-line. Kansas City, their receiving core the last 2 years has been a mess, and they have 2 Super Bowl appearances. Purdy isn't getting to a Super Bowl with a terrible O-line, which if Trent Williams gets hurt because they didn't address it in the draft, is what their O-line will be. So it's not just the number. You have to contextualize it. There's about 6 guys that can carry bad receiving cores. Even Matt Stafford can't carry a bad O-line. We've seen that. He can carry a limited tight end receiving core. We've seen that. But Matt Stafford, as good as he is, he needs the O-line. Lamar doesn't, Allen doesn't. So my take is, it's not just the number. It's not that. You have to contextualize everything.
Okay, well then let's contextualize this. Who cares that Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or these other players can carry a team better than Brock Purdy when they didn't win? If Josh Allen ended up winning the Super Bowl or Joe Burrow, then I'd be wildly impressed. You talk about, without an O-line, Brock Purdy's done, and yet all anyone has complained about is, oh, well, that's why Patrick Mahomes lost the Super Bowl was because of his O-line. And you say, well, at least he got to the Super Bowl. Okay, that's great. He didn't win the Super Bowl. I don't think the 49ers are happy with just getting to a Super Bowl. In fact, I know they're not, considering they've been to 2 Super Bowls within the last 6 years, 5, 6 years, whatever it is. So you don't sign Brock Purdy in the hopes of that he can carry your team with a bad O-line. You just don't do that. You don't do that with Josh Allen. You don't do that with Patrick Mahomes. You don't do that with any of these players. When we have these conversations about who's the best, who's top 5, who's the best of all time, who's this, who's that, considering all these factors of who can do more with less makes 100% sense to me. It really does. When we're having these very narrowly specific conversations that truthfully in the grand scheme of things really don't matter because it's all opinion based anyway, right? There's and we all get in fights in the comments and we're like, you're right. You really think Baker Mayfield's better than Dak Prescott? And, they go back and forth. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. And for those true fan bases, the true Cowboys fans, the Bucks fans, the 49ers fans, the whatever fans, it's about winning a Super Bowl. It's not about proving that your quarterback is actually better, could do more with less. So in Patrick Mahomes' legacy case, being able to get to a Super Bowl with a bad O-line or not, amazing receivers or whatever, like, that's great. And it's worth it to talk about. Same thing with Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. Like, that all makes sense. But when we're having conversations about the 49ers and them winning, the plan is not like, well, we're going to pay a quarterback a lot of money and we're just not going to try to have a great O-line. Like, that's where it doesn't make sense, because you think, oh, well, Brock Purdy's going to have to do more. I got news for you. If your whole team gets banged up, then you're not going to win anyway. You're just not. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, and Jalen Hurts balled out, and they hung 95 points in the last two games, the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. Nobody can take that away from the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Philadelphia Eagles fan base, the franchise, the teams, the players, they're all like, we won the Super Bowl, baby. And you can try to explain it however you want. It doesn't matter. We won the Super Bowl. We were dominant. We destroyed the Chiefs in a way that no other team did. Blah, 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 blah. They're not winning that Super Bowl if A.J. Brown gets injured, Saquon Barkley gets injured, and Mailata gets injured. It's probably going to be too much for them to overcome. And so if you want to say, well, Jalen Hurts would have struggled. Yeah, he probably would have struggled. I agree with that. And would it have been impressive if he could have still led that team to an NFC Championship game? Yeah, absolutely. Would it have mattered at the end of the day? No, it would not. No, it would not. Again, it'd be a cool thing, and it would be a nice checkbox in Jalen Hurts' legacy. And when we're getting in fights in the comment section of who's better, Jalen Hurts or Brock Purdy, or Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott, and we could say, remember in 25 when they went to the NFC Championship game and blah, 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 blah. Like we could, and Saquon was injured and A.J. Brown was injured. And that's great. And people say that with Patrick Mahomes now. Oh, well, he was able to get to this, round, and, Tyreek Hill wasn't there and so was injured. And it's like, that's great. And that's great. And it matters more when you're in like a GOAT conversation, less so when the type of conversation that Brock Purdy is going to be in, quite frankly. So these conversations, if we're going to add, context to it, it's like, yeah, we said Joe Burrow didn't win the Super Bowl, and it was a great effort by him and showed how special of a quarterback he can be. But like, he didn't win, and they needed to build a better O-line. And they haven't done so in years past, and they still struggle. And kind of like J-Mac was saying, right, if Jamar Chase goes down, that really is hurting the Bengals. Joe Burrow gets all this money, all this praise, and I think rightfully so. Their defense is trash. He wasn't able to get them to the playoffs. His kickers missing field goals, can't get to the playoffs. I mean, we even in the divisional round between the Bills and the Ravens, as amazing as Lamar Jackson was, and I understand he made some mistakes early on in the game, that's fine, whatever, but he still put that team in a position to at least tie the game. He played near flawlessly in that second half, fourth quarter, whatever time we want to start. He did everything he could to put that team in a position to at least tie. And it wasn't enough because the players around him simply were not good enough. Josh Allen makes an unbelievable throw with just pressure bearing down him. In that singular moment, did better than anything Patrick Mahomes did in the Super Bowl with pressure bearing down on him. Josh Allen makes an unbelievable throw that should have been caught, but it wasn't. So no matter how amazing these quarterbacks can be, no matter how amazing these players can be, if you don't have a team around you, you're not going to win. And is it wildly impressive when a Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson, a Patrick Mahomes, et cetera, can carry a team that's a lot weaker? It really is. It's incredibly impressive. It's entertaining. You're watching it and you really understand why some of these quarterbacks and why some of these players are truly as special as they really are, and why some of these other players who are pretty good but just clearly not as good as these other players, you can see the difference. It's awesome. And from an entertainment standpoint, it's awesome. And as a fan, I love it. It's great. And I'll cheer, and I'll have the discussions in the comment section, and I'll use it as ammo, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, if you're looking at it through the lens of like the Eagles, the 49ers, specifically through the team, and you're trying to ultimately build a team to win a Super Bowl, I do not care how good my team can be. when my number one wide receiver is injured or my tight end's injured, because I'm trying to build a team where, one, that doesn't happen. And really, the best case scenario is when all things go our way, we win a Super Bowl. Very rarely does a team come out on top and win the Super Bowl, let alone even get to a conference championship game, when you're dealing with like, oh, you know, our running back was down, our O-line was down. Like, usually you're just like, oh, we tried our best. And the best was Matthew Stafford getting to the divisional round. O-line wasn't amazing, inconsistent, you know, injuries with wide receivers and whatnot. And it's just like, yeah, impressive that they were able to keep their season afloat, get to the divisional game. That's awesome. Fun for them. Fun to watch. Still not a Super Bowl. Not even an NFC championship. So what does it matter at that point? You're not building a team to be like, well, if everything goes to plan, we'll be able to endure a lot of injuries and still make it to the divisional round. And that's why we're going to trust the quarterback that we have. And it's like, no one's going to have that conversation. No fans rooting for that. No one in the meetings are going to be like, this is a team that we need to build. You're like, we need to build a team that can win a Super Bowl. And so what do we need? What every other team needs. We need a great O-line. We need a great run game. We need some great wide receivers, right? We need a great pass rush. Like, we need a great defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator. Like, you need it all. Like, that's just how this works. So, you know, like I said before as well, and I'll end it here. Like, yes, Brock Purdy cannot carry a team, and he's not as great as Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes. I think that's very obvious, and I think that's very okay. To constantly put every quarterback through that comparison, I think just doesn't really make sense, because under that logic, then nobody should do anything. And when all those quarterbacks have not won Super Bowls with bad teams, and what does it matter? Not even Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not going through this whole thing all over again, but I've already unpacked this illusion and delusion that Patrick Mahomes is out there winning Super Bowls with bootleg rosters. It's just not the case. It's just not the reality. You know, all those years that he's won, he's had a great O-line, a great run game. You know, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, or Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Andy Reid, the best defense, a defense that's holding a number one offense to 10 points in a conference championship game. Like, all of these things matter. You're like, oh, well, Patrick Mahomes was able to get to a Super Bowl without a great wide receiving core. Yeah, and his defense was holding the Baltimore Ravens, who were averaging like 30 points a game, to 10 points in the AFC Championship game. So I don't care what his receiving core is. His defense held them to 10 points. Those things matter. It's all context then. And when Patrick Mahomes got to a Super Bowl without an O-line, well, as soon as he faced a great defense, he got slugged. He got rocked. He got embarrassed. He played one of the worst games of his entire career, and it was in the Super Bowl. So then what does it matter? Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Brock Purdy and the Niners deal and adding context to it? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here. I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're all on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.